I think there are many reasons why we feel tourism should be a major pillar of the Philippine economy.
Yeah, we were talking about soft line a couple of seconds ago, right? Right now, makes up about, 14% of the economy. The government wants to push that up to 20, correct?
Yes, and I think there are a few key reasons as to why we feel that's very realistic. I mean, one, if you think about just our natural resources, I mean, the Philippines has over 7,000 islands. Many of which are kind of globally celebrated beaches, sites for diving, snorkeling, etc., that are kind of already there.
Surfing as well?
Surfing, as JP pointed out. Secondly, I think generally our people are quite naturally and authentically hospitable. We see that in the way that they've, served service industries around the world. Right, so we have that kind of natural ability. And thirdly, the government's continuing to invest over just the last over the next 3 years, they've committed over $70 billion US, including the privatization of our major airport. And so we see no reason why tourism shouldn't be more than 20% of our economy and a major pillar.
And I want to jump in here. I mean, societally as well, I mean, it would make be pretty positive as well, rather than have the government have to rely on remittances from OFWs, right? If tourism gets even bigger as a share of the economy, it hopefully will create more jobs for people at home.
Absolutely, and a lower barrier to those jobs. Less skill, training required, et cetera. And so for us as Ayala Land, I mean, over the last 5 years, we've invested $500 million. Over the last 10 years, we've invested $500 million. And now over the next 5 years, we've committed at least $500 million because we see a number of gaps in the industry.
Okay, so that's a big chunk of change, $500 million. Where is that money going?
So over the last 10 years, we've developed a portfolio of about 4,100 rooms, generally concentrated around a $100 product that is targeted towards a local domestic business traveler. Done very well for us. And I think because we've managed some of the highest margins in the country and done well, we have enough momentum to continue investing. We also have another boutique product, which is a $1,000 a night luxury ecotourism resort in Palawan. 3 resorts that we have there that we're continuing to reinvest in. I don't think a lot of people know, actually, Martin, that the Philippines has the highest spending tourist arrival in the region.
Is that right?
So arrivals to the Philippines generally spend longer time in country, about 11 days on average,
and more money.
And over $2,300, which is higher than Thailand and higher than Vietnam.
Oh, didn't know that.
So here's the thing, Mariana. Whenever we talk about tourism, Thailand seems to be the benchmark right now. And when you compare 5 to 7 million in the Philippines annually versus Thailand's 37 million, there is this clamor perhaps a clamor on the surface that, hey, we need to catch up because there's a lot of potential. But is the name of the game perhaps not really getting the quantity of tourists, but actually making sure that we get the higher spending tourists, quality and margins over volume, for instance?
I think in the short term, it's certainly quality. And I think you can see that in the way that we are going to be dispersing that $500 million. We're looking to reinvest in a number of luxury properties. We feel that there is room to push up the average room rate. I mean, just this quarter alone, we've seen year on year an increase of almost 30% in our room rates in our luxury sector. So it shows that traveler does have capacity in the Philippines. But broadly speaking, we see a number of gaps in the market. I mean, if you look at our portfolio, $100 a night to $1,000 a night, there's a lot there in between.
Yeah.
And we think the reason why Thailand's been so successful is they've offered quite a number of options at different price points for different types of travelers. And so this $500 million investment over the next 5 years is really building on what are the different product types to appeal to different types of customers. And a big part of that is a 5-star Filipino brand that we think we could eventually export.
So, with no disrespect to Nepal, but it sounds as though you're saying in terms of business model, tourism in the Philippines ought to lean less towards Kathmandu, more towards like Bhutan. Higher spending, a better quality tourists and visitors,
possibly in the short term, but I think for it to be a significant pillar of the economy in the long term, volume needs to be part of the game.
As well. Okay.
And so for us, we're also looking at a couple of B&B kind of backpacker traveler options as well. Again, stylized Filipino experience, but something that's more affordable, sub $100. In some cases in our estates, we have $20 a night beds as well.
Right. Mariana, let's talk about another challenge to Philippine tourism, because whenever I talk about tourism in the Philippines, I mean, the number of places you can go to are countless. But I hesitate to promote the Philippines as much because it's a question of getting there. It's a question of infrastructure. It's a question of, well, are there enough ports and airports to actually get you to these beautiful places that are being developed by the likes of Ayala Land at the moment? Do you feel like the infrastructure gap, or the infrastructure hindrance, if I can call it that, is being addressed? It'll make it easier for people who might say, you know what, let's go to the Philippines because it's now easier to get to some of these properties in Palawan. It's easier to get some of these properties in Romblon, for instance.
Sure. I think a fantastic move on the government's part was really to privatize NAIA, which is the major Manila airport. They're working on privatizing a number of domestic airports. So I think that speeds things up as well. In our case in Palawan, we are exploring opportunities to be able to have direct international flights. And in terms of our investment spend, we're looking at areas where there are direct international flights. So Cebu, for example, is one of those places. So while NAIA is being rehabilitated, the idea that you kind of drive travelers direct to location is important.
And what she's talking about is Manila, for viewers who are, we're sort of went over their head. This is the Ninoy Aquino International Airport,
yes,
right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.